you raising money? Are you actually chasing investors? And what is your feedback when you are chasing investors? Could you please let me know? Because that's what I want us to talk about today, right? So, basically, I know that many businesses, through the course of their life, they need to go through this challenge, talking to investors. But as I say, there are a few things that you need to know to make sure that you are effective when you are talking to them. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit into detail if you want to. Okay. So my name is Tony T. I'm the founder here of Renewables in Africa. And we are your global clean energy champion. So what we do is to clearly demystify the renewable energy sector for you. And more than that, especially for this session on a Friday, we want to make sure that we demystify the sector for you so that it makes it easy and seamless for you to connect. And more than that as well. So on this one on Friday, so as every Friday, we want to talk about the business of running a renewable energy business because this is very important, right? Because most of the time, I don't know you, but I had this plan for a long time because I knew that I was doing something virtuous, right? I didn't really pay attention to the business principle, and I was always in trouble with the money. Until the time I said to myself, you need to be looking at that very carefully. And that's why I decided to have this slot only to talk about the business part. And that's what we're going to be doing. But before I go into that, there's three things I want to ask you to do, if you don't mind. So number one, I wanted to actually connect with us, right, in all our platforms, because we have 5 platforms we are broadcasting from. We have LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and also Telegram. If you can connect to all of them, that'd be great. But if you prefer only one of them, that is okay. If you're on YouTube, make sure that once you actually subscribe, you press the bell notification. Why? Simply because when we have a new video, you could be aware of that, yeah, and you can connect and you can talk and you can actually ask me questions directly, yeah, and I love answering those questions. The second thing is for you to leave a message right now, yeah, or actually through the course of the conversation to let me know what is your question. I'd be more than happy to respond to that and also see what is your opinion of what we're doing here at the show, whether you like it or don't like it, you find it useful, not useful, you want to suggest some question you want to look at, that's fine. Just bear in mind that on a Friday, we're talking about the business of running a renewable energy business, yeah? And the third thing that I wanted to do is simply to share this information. You can do it right now. It only take 2 seconds, even not, right? Even a second. Why am I saying that? Simply because there are people, they're dying. They want to have this information. They don't know where to find this information, right? By sharing that with them, you definitely helping them. And that's how you're also contributing already to actually spreading the industry and getting more people to come into that. And then we can have a conversation, right? We can have a conversation and we can discuss. That is what I want to do for you. So is it okay? Excellent. So just do me a favor, please. So take the next 5 seconds to do it. Yeah, to share. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll see at the end whether people were actually listening to me or not, whether some of you actually did share. So, but thank you very much if for those of you who've done it, and really appreciate that. Whether you're joining live or you're just catching that on the replay later on, absolutely okay. It's always a pleasure for me to discuss with you, right? And yeah, so the reason I had this idea of this session, so just to give you a little bit of an idea, because actually at the moment, so we're working with an entrepreneur. He's raising some money. He's actually raising $1 million, and then throughout the course of our programs, because I don't know if I told you, if you maybe know or do not know, but Renewables in Africa. So we have this flagship awareness program that is helping businesses, people with product or services do 3 things for you. Number one, give you the visibility that you need. Number two, give you the leads that you need. Number three, give you the sales that you need. And your sales could be as well that you're reaching out to an investor, depending what you have. And that's what we do. So working with this entrepreneur, so we organize a conversation between him and one of our top advisor, slash investors. And the session was actually great and brilliant. It actually happened this morning. And as the advisor was talking, because actually he's a very good contact of mine, a friend of mine, I would say. So he say, some very crucial uh, information there. And I thought, okay, I have to kind of share that with people so that, because I know it's going to benefit a lot of you. And a lot of you have a business, an idea you're looking at, and you're looking for investors. And as I said in my message on LinkedIn, is that I'm sure many of you would have done your homework. So you have an idea what you need to do in order to attract investors. So I'm sure I trust you, right? You're doing your work, right? Am I clear? But if not, just drop it as a message. So maybe I may have a special session just to go back with that. What are those fundamentals? What are the principles that people need to respect? Yeah, we can talk about that. But I go on. But I will actually carry on the assumption that you know what we're talking about here. But what I want to focus on is just to understand what can actually turn off an investor, or actually what actually turn off many investors. Yeah, because it's important for you to know, because if you know that you won't be able to make that mistakes. Yeah, it's very important. And like I say, everything I'm telling you here, these are things that I've experienced firsthand, because I've been in the sector for more than 10 years. So, and I've done pretty much all the roles, right? So I started working with other people before actually having my own business, and I've developed a business model around it, having had to talk to people to see how I can get money here and there. You know, that I know these jobs, right? And that's what, like I say, for people coming maybe after me, or they could be even further advanced, I just want to share my experience. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the absolute truth, and there's no other information. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I can pass you the information that I have seen from the experience I have had talking to many successful entrepreneurs in the sector, outside the sector, including my own experience, and sharing that with you to see what's actually very very important. And before I go on to discuss that, I just want to know. So do any of you listening, so if you're listening live, I'll be actually quite interested and curious to find out, what do you think is maybe the one thing that that actually make investor run away, which is actually the title of today's conversation. What is that? Yeah, so if you know, just share with me. I think I'd like to know whether at least you're thinking along the same line or not, right? And what I'm going to be sharing, why is definitely good for the renewable energy sector, it could apply to other sectors as well, right? So you will see when we come to discuss that, you will see that it can come to apply, because investors, they usually have the same psychology. Yeah. So if you really crack that, then you're actually in a good position. So that means even in other sector, if you happen to deploy yourself into many sectors, so you should definitely get something that will be useful for you across the board. Yeah, that's what you need to know. And before talking about that one thing that I've seen actually make investor run away, and that's actually my friend the advisor was saying this morning, before revealing what is that to you. Yeah. So there's two other things that I want to say ahead of that. Yeah, that's going to be three things that I want you to remember for today's conversation. So the first thing that you need to know, it may not sound trivial, but it actually should be, right? And you need to know that. Very important, very, very crucial. When you are talking to an investor, whether it's at an event, whether it's at a pitch competitions, whether somebody has organized a meeting, so I think that you need to know, absolutely important, crystal clear. I want you to know that, because that already will give you a clue as to how you proceed going further. So one, and actually my friend actually revealed that to me many years ago, right? And I've kind of experienced that myself as well, and I've sort of checked this over some investors, and they kind of back in it. So the first thing that you got to know, so when you're in front of an investor and you now start talking about your business, yeah, the first thing you really want to know is, by default, his response will be no. So when he's in front of you, because everybody it's tend to be conservative with the money that you own, right? Or that you've been given, whatever it is, as an investor, because you want to make sure that you're making the right investment. Yeah. So you tend to be conservative, a little bit conservative. Yeah. So basically that means that, and you know that by default you're going to be meeting a lot of good projects. So most of the time, and also by default, because you've been just, let's say you've been trained to say that, just because you say that most of the time from statistic, your answer is always gonna, most likely you're starting from a no position and you're looking for an excuse not to invest. Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to, it's actually when people can't find an excuse to invest that they end up having to invest because they can't see why they would say no, right? So they starting from the no position. You have to know that. You have to know that. So it means that in what you're saying, just don't make sure that in everything you say, you're not just giving them ammunition to easily say no to you and move away and move off, right? So that you need to know. And I don't know for you, but for me, that was actually kind of a little bit of a life changing. I thought actually when I saw an investor, he wants to invest, he wants to spend the money. That's what he's saying. But in actual fact, that's not what they're doing. And that's not also what their body language sort of will be showing. They will be smiling, doing the right, saying the right things, but it doesn't mean that they want to invest. Most of the time, no. I'm sure if you've had to invest already, to look for money already yourself, I'm sure you would have been in many conversations whereby they say, "Oh, great, that's good what you're doing. I love it. The world needs it, and blah blah blah." But not for me. Yeah, and I guess for you, if you're in that position, if you're the entrepreneur, the business person, the business man, business woman, all you care about is I want to invest, I don't want to invest. Obviously, feedback is always good to have, but the most important thing is I want to invest. Yeah, that's what you want to hear, right? So everything it says before that, that's not what we're really looking for. The feedback is great, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. So you gotta know that. You gotta know that. That's the first thing that you need to know. They always start from no position. Yeah. The second thing that that you need to know regarding those investors is the fact that when you're in front of the investor, please do not make that mistake. Maybe I would say that could be the one thing you can remember from today, up before the thing that I'm going to tell you last. One of those two, you need to remember that is that when you're talking to investors, you have to pitch their win, not your win. Their win. Very important. Very important. Very, very important. So you need to pitch their win. So that means whenever I'm saying something, so how is he winning there? So how is he or she winning in what I'm saying? Don't just come and say, we're going to be delivering this, we're going to be making that much profit, it's going to be good for us. No, no, no. It's what we're going to do when you invest with us. What we can demonstrate is actually by year X, your money would have your investment would have already tripled, and not only triple, you would have impacted that amount of people. And after that, we'd like to get you more involved if that's possible, maybe for expand the business, and you're going to have the primary seat in order for you to decide whether you want to continue with us or not. Yeah, it could be, I don't know, with this project. So what is quite good is allowing your business, your company, to be able to tap into some green credentials that you need and that could actually favor your company. That's the kind of thing. Okay, I know what I'm saying sounded a little bit cheesy. I give it to you, right? It's probably not properly elaborated. Yeah, so a little bit cheesy. I apologize if it sounds too cheesy, but the idea is there. You have to pitch their win. Very important, not your win. Their win. That's what they want to hear. Yeah. So and also it has to be subtle. How can I say? It shouldn't be too. How can I say that? Too blatant. Yeah, to the point that they could see that you just making this up. You don't really believe into it. So find the right formula, the right angle to say that. But the number one thing, like I said, don't forget, they always want to say no. So that's why I started from that position, starting from that position, that you want to make sure that whatever you pitch into them, yeah, so it's just gonna remove excuses that they may have to say no, and then you want to be pitching their win. This is very important. Yeah, once you do that, you're actually in a better position. So what is the third thing? The third thing is exactly what we're going to talk about right now, which is why I wanted you to attend this conversation, because you want to know that. And he says that, why do investors sometimes run away from renewable energy projects? That is maybe something key for me. Until I understood that, I think I was always a little bit surprised, shocked to hear some answers say, "Hey, people don't want to get into the industry. They say all the nice things, but blah blah blah." Yeah, but let me give it to you. But what I'm gonna say, let me just say that most of the time it tends to apply as well to off-grid sector. solar or solar home system, or the kind of project that work a lot with pay as you go. It can also be project with PPE, PPA, sorry, PPA. So loan, lease as well, lease to own. But it depends. But the key thing is this: all those businesses that obviously require something like 24 months to break even. The product unit. Whenever you have a product, you look at the unit cost. You're doing your calculations, and you find out that whenever you're actually placing a product, right, and it takes you about 24 months for you to break even. So it puts you in a position whereby, because of that lead time to break even, you end up having to raise money on a constant basis. You always basically every 18 months you having to, because you won't wait for 24 months, whatever, everything. Yeah, our 18 months at least you want to be raising new money. Yeah, that become very scary for the investor, because what it tells the investor is you never want to be in a position whereby you're going to have sufficient cash, generate sufficient cash, right, to not want to go into fundraising again, and you be in a position to maybe pay him some returns. Yeah, because if you're having to constantly ask for money every 18 months, you're not breaking even. So that means when I'm investing my money, if forever you are raising, you're doing further rounds, it means that I'm not sure whenever I'm going to get my money. I'm not really sure about that, because obviously your business is cash intensive. You don't generate enough value, enough money to be self-sufficient, yeah, to start generating your own profit and grow from there. Then it becomes a little bit worrying. So, and that's why investors most of the time tend to run away from those businesses, because they can't see when they will be able to recoup their money. They see, okay, the person I'm giving you the money is only going to be able for you to survive for the next 12 months, 18 months before you go on another investment spree, basically. And when that new investment is coming, you keep on diluting me, and you're also not giving me any returns. So I keep having to wait, and I may never get my money, essentially. And this kind of business, like I say, it's very tricky for investor, because they can't see how they're going to win. Yeah. And they tend to run away from those projects. And I say that because I won't mention companies, because I want to protect, obviously, the privacy of those companies. I have had conversations with few companies in the sector that have confessed to me that, yes, they're constantly raising money. They're constantly raising money. And every time they're raising money, so they have to paint a rosy picture to the investor, you know, that we're gonna do that, but they don't believe into it. I'm not even sure the investor believes into it, but maybe the investor want to do something to show their good faith. They give the money, and it's constantly the case. The business not really making profits, or barely making profit, but not enough to sort of start spreading the returns to people, not spreading, I would say sharing to the investors. So you into that constant, I would say, vicious cycle. So that really makes a lot of people run away. And this is one thing I'm saying. And I was having this session this morning, and my friend actually confirmed that he's an investor. And he confirmed to me that that's one of the reasons he has yet to invest into a single solar project. That's more with a solar home system, off grid as well. Maybe some of the bigger projects. On top of the fact that the margin are actually very small. The reason I'm sharing that with you, so you could be asking the questions. Okay, Tony, are you saying that it's fatality? There's nothing else that could be done? No, because remember what I said. I said that if you already know the psychology of the investor, how he thinks, what he's scared of, what will make him run away. I need to make sure that in the business model that I have, what can I create to make sure that we don't end up in that vicious cycle? Because most of the time when you raise money, we so focus on the million that we want to raise, we forget that we're actually going to be needing to raise at least $1 million every 18 months. And very quickly, the investor will pick that up. And that may not actually entice him. So that means in the business model that we're building, so we need to be looking at how do we make sure that we're going to break away from that. We're going to get some self-sufficiency in order for our business to move forward. So what business model is it? What could we add? I don't know. You tell me. You are the investor. You are Mr. and Mrs. Genius. I just want to flag to you what is making people run away. If you have that in mind, it's now up to you to be creative, to find a strategy, to find a combination that can give you something much more solid. It could be that you could have a secondary product or a secondary market. For example, if I'm solar home system, that's fine. And I know that, tap into the bottom of the pyramid, it's not that easy. I may find a way, create a new segment, but for me, having slightly bigger customer, I don't know, for smaller CNI, that can give me a little bit more assurance. I don't know. So you tell me, as I say, yeah. Can I be that I will associate myself with some product manufacturers, as a combination of the business to create? I don't know. Like I say again, I'm sure what I'm saying doesn't make sense in terms of combination I'm talking about. But what I want to convey here is the idea to say that if you know that in advance, when you're preparing your plan, preparing your business model, you take that into consideration. And when you prepare that and then you present that to Mr. and Mrs. Investor, then they will see, oh, okay, that person has done his homework. That person is actually making it difficult for me to say no. Yeah. Obviously, there are many other things that you could be looking at. Yeah. So we're not going to cover all of that here because when we're having those sessions, I just want to keep it for half an hour maximum because I want to respect your time. And yeah, that's what it is. We can talk a lot more about that. Definitely. You can feel free to reach out to me. That's sort of what we discuss when we're having those awareness programs, especially for people who want to raise money. We get those questions looked at. Yeah. So and we make sure that we can help you as much as possible, looking at what are the strategies to combine to move away from that. If there's something that's of an interest for you, definitely feel free to reach out to me. You can hit me on the DM and definitely respond to that, or on our page, Renewables in Africa, on LinkedIn or any other page. So if I don't pick that up, one of my colleagues working with me will pick that up and we can definitely have the conversation with you and talk to you more about that. But everything there, as I mentioned, start by being more visible. I know when I say that, people see the program as just a pure marketing stunt, nothing. And no, I've always said, come back to the basics of business. Simple. If I don't know you, I can't buy from you. If I don't know you, I don't flow you, as I say. Yeah. As simple as that. If I don't know you, I can't buy from you. I've said that many times. When you go shopping, it's as simple as that. Once you understand that, you understand the importance of being out there. When you go shopping, as I said, do you buy product that you know or product that you don't know? Ask yourself the question. For most of us, 99% of us, we buy product we know. Then my second question, how do you know this product? Do you think all of a sudden they popped in here? No. You know them because, they've become household product. You've seen them everywhere, here and there. So that means the day you're out shopping for that particular type of product, you already apply a filter that's going to select some of the brand that you've kept seeing on and on and on. Yeah. And because we're all lazy, we don't have time. That's not a job to just look for something. You're just going to go to that one that I know. I trust them because I tend to see them everywhere. I see many people using them. So I go with them. And that's how. So your job, it's whatever sector you are within the green space or even outside, is to make sure that when the customer is having this kind of thinking, when they applying that filter, they will retain your company. Yeah, they'll retain. It's almost like a informal tender. They will retain your company. You're going to be in the short list of company that they want to look at, and then from there, yeah, you want your customer to think about you first, and that is why it is important to be out there, to be visible, because you build your brand, you build your reputation, you build your visibility, so people kept consuming you without even realizing it. The time I tell you, right, I don't hide it. Up and honest, most of the time, people come to me when I ask them, "How did you find out about me?" The usual question is, "Tony, I've been looking at you for years. I've been following you for years. I've not decided to step forward." That's essentially what they're saying, even if they don't say it in this way. And what is true for me is true for you. Yeah. And I'm sure there are other people, that would have similar kind of competent skills that I have, although we're the best. But there are many people, but why are they not going there? They don't see them. It's as simple as that. You want people to get to see you. Yeah. So very important. So I know I digress a little bit. When you get me into the awareness program, I can talk for hours and hours, because for me it has really been a big, 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 I would say, breakthrough for me. Yeah, once I managed to understand that. So when you talk to investors, just to summarize, because I'm just gonna finish here. I don't see any questions, so I don't think there is a question. So if there's a question, you can drop it here. So just summarize. I was just saying that for people who are looking for investors or thinking about, start talking to people for investors, for investment, looking for partners. The first thing, as I say, usually the partner, the investor, most of the time they are used to, and by default, the answer will be no. And it's up to you to convince them on the opposite. Yeah, it's up to them to give them the good excuses. The It's up to you not to give them excuses to say no. Give them reason to say yes to you. Yeah, first thing. Second thing that I mentioned is that you want to make sure that you pitch their win, not your win. Your win is irrelevant at the time you're talking to them, because you need them at that point. You want to pitch their win so that they understand that with you, they're winning. You're responding to one of their questions that they're having. Yeah. Then the third thing, which is the response to this question, is to understand what is making them run away from renewable energy project. Those are projects that need to raise money every 18 months or regular basis. Could be 18 months, could be 2 years, but anyway, you constantly raising money, constantly raising money. So that could be quite scary for investors. And you'll find very few who are actually prepared to go with that, because they're thinking, wow, it's going to be constantly on the hunt for no money. So that means that I'm not sure when I'm going to be recoup my money, if ever. I'm not also sure whether I got any decent return, because it's going to keep diluting me on and on. So yeah. So is the business possible to sustain itself or not? So that is kind of scary for investors. So that's what I wanted to convey for today. I'm just gonna stop here because I believe that we have some good time. So I'll be glad to have your questions. I'll be glad to respond to some of them. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. So if I come online, that's to engage with you, right? So you don't want to drop an email right now, send me a DM, reach out to me, reach out to my team. We can talk to you. We're here for that, yeah? But don't struggle, suffer in silence. The reason we are here in front of you is to have this conversation. And I'm very happy to share this knowledge, yeah? So more than happy as well to have some of you who want to go to our awareness program. Happy to take you as a client and see what we can do for you. Are you okay? Okay. I'm just gonna carry on because I have another busy day. So thank you very much for connecting. Appreciate that. I love talking to you. I see all the remark, all the comment that you're making, and they make me proud. Yeah, and at least you show me that I'm doing something and I'm contributing to some respect. So that's what I have to say for today. So let me just say, as usual, you have a beautiful rest of the day. I'm just going to and yeah, and may the sun be with you guys. Take care. Bye.